All right, let's continue on here. So again, we're right into right at the station here at Langmuir. Again, you can see there's indentations from where the ties were. So the siding that was here was pulled up in the early 50s, so sometime between 1953 and 1955. Langmuir was a significant station in the fact that it did have a water tank, and so in the old days, right when the line was built, the locomotives that were being used by Canadian Northern were limited in terms of their fuel capacity, particularly their water capacity. So their water tenders, their water tank capacity was limited, and so they could not travel very far without having to take on more water. And so typically the engines they were using were moguls, which were 260 configuration, and 10-wheelers, which were 460s. And so typically you saw water tanks being put in every 20 miles or so on the line. So there was a water tank at Long Lac, and I'm going to pause here for a second. I'm going to show you a timetable. So you'll see the water tank at Long Lac, or its original French name, Long Lac. And then there was a water tank here at Langmuir. Now Langmuir, I always like to sort of delve into the history of these places. And so Langmuir, the name, you know, because oftentimes Canadian Northern would name their stations after people. And so I was kind of curious to know where the name Langmuir came from. And the name sounded very familiar because Langmuir, the name Langmuir was actually a couple individuals who were associated with another railway line that I researched, one that I sort of started my sort of railway researching career with, which was the Port Arthur, Duluth and Western. The Langmuirs, and you can read more about them if you click on the link in the description and go to my page on Langmuir, you can read more about them. The Langmuirs were very, very prominent Toronto businessmen, and they probably were associates of the president of Canadian Northern, William Mackenzie, because he was a very prominent Toronto businessman. And you can probably imagine that it was through that connection that the station was named. So in here, there's actually a whole bunch of debris. You can see that there's sort of a bucket there, and then there's over here. It looks like there's part of what I think is a sleigh. So you can see this. There's a thing at the back here, and you can kind of see this. Maybe it's not a sleigh, but there's sort of this wooden frame, and you can see all the metal that's sort of attached to it. It's in the ground. It's very badly deteriorated, so I don't want to pull anything up because it very well may fall apart on me. But anyway, there's more stuff that's in the brush here, and so what we're going to do is we're going to go in and have a look. Okay, so we're just north of the grade, which is maybe about 50 feet that way. All kinds of debris in here. Over there you can see there's a big oil drum. Looks like old cans. This thing here looks like an old container, maybe an old kerosene container. I've seen ones like that. They used to carry kerosene for the lamps. Over here, it's almost like there's a little ditch here, and stuff was just chucked into the ditch. You can see another container here. And there's more metal here. And here's another sort of container here. You see the handle on the top. And then over here, this is the coolest find. Never seen any of these on any of my explorations. We actually have a set of wheels. You can tell that they're old. This may have been for something like a little velocipede, a little handcar or something like that. And here you can see yet another, looks like container, maybe another one of these kerosene containers. You can see more drums and more containers here. So all kinds of debris scattered all over the place here. No sign yet of maybe a section house, but we'll keep looking. Okay, let's get going again. And so we're gonna scoot up here a little bit. And I kind of missed this. I don't know, I guess I was kind of engrossed in what I was doing. Up here, and I'm gonna show you a map of this area from the 1950s. And you'll actually see a collection of buildings. I'm assuming there was a section house here. Now, whether there's some sort of foundation or whether we can find something, as I said, I would have looked on my way east, but I kind of, as I said, kind of got engrossed in what I was doing and just totally did not even bother to look. All right, so we're gonna pause here and I'm gonna go and see if I can locate something. Before we go in, look, you can see the fish plate bolt, the connector bolt for the rails. Okay, so we're just north of the railway grade, which is over there. We're trying to look around. I'm seeing a few things. I don't know what I'm seeing here. So here you can see a barrel. Looks like a piece of stovepipe there. There's a cement pad here, kind of randomly in the middle of nowhere. There's an old bottle. What does that say? Hang on a second. Lambert Pharmaceutical. Listerine. It's a Listerine bottle. Look at that. So obviously there was something here. Now, like I said, on that 1950s map, you can see there's a collection of buildings that were here. I don't know what the purpose of the buildings were. If there was some sort of logging that was going on here. There's a piece of metal there. And then here, it might be hard to see on the camera, but I can make out the berm of something here. Like, looks like there's, you know, something that's kind of, and there's kind of a depression in the middle here. So I can definitely make out kind of a berm line. I tried kind of probing the ground a little bit with my knife, and to see if there was things like here. This is an old bottle, right? Like this is old. There's a big metal bar sticking up. This is another chunk of cement here. You can see that there's an old culvert that's here. I don't see anything else around here. All right, so we tried looking around. I don't see anything else. The issue here is that a lot of the spots are low and kind of wet. So I doubt there would be anything else other than here. So this could have very well been the location of a section house here. And the reason why that's significant, look, we might be, look at that. We have a brick. Yeah, this might have been the section house here. Look, we have all kinds of red brick. Why would we have red brick in the middle of nowhere? And that was a very common for color. We've seen some of the other section houses have red bricks. My legs are all torn up. And as you're going to see here, this is probably it, because just over there, we're going to see it in a second here, is where the water tank was located. All right, we just have a short little jaunt here, and probably the reason why the section house would be there. Oh, Luna sees a partridge. There she goes. I almost missed this. Like, I just kind of caught it out of the corner of my eye as it was coming east. And so here's the water tank. And so again, a water tank here at Langmuir, 15 miles or so, 16 miles from Long Lac. And so here you can see the base part of the tank. And so here's where the uptake pipes were. Obviously tapping into the water here. There's another sort of little bay here of Kenogamisis. You can see one of the pads here for the tank, for the tower, and the other one is right there. And I'm guessing there's pads here that are buried underneath the ballast. So there's probably two right here and here, somewhere in here. So again, really neat to see. So this water tank was in use from 1915 when the railway opened until 1930. And so what happened in 1930 was basically some of the smaller tank locations were taken out of use because basically newer locomotives could travel farther. And so places like here at Langmuir, Kemel, the tanks were pulled out. And so basically from Long Lac to Jellicoe, and Long Lac and Jellicoe both had water tanks. The only tank that was on the line was west of Geraldton at a place called, well, it wasn't named anything, it was called the Milepost 28. And that was a new tank that was constructed in 1930 when these ones were shut down. Okay, so let's push ourselves ahead here. Again, lots to see. And so again, here's yet another sort of construction project. And so here is this long sort of rockfill sort of causeway across part of Kenogamisis Lake. You can see kind of, this is you can see kind of the swampy terrain. This is Northern Ontario. If you've never seen Northern Ontario, this is what a lot of people who live around here, this is our mental image, right? Basically swamp and more swamp, and basically you have the remains of, you know, some of the spruce trees that are kind of growing in there. So again, this would have been part of the lake, and this would have been cut off by the railway grade. So I'm going to zip you ahead a little bit here. Noah should be waiting for us at the next milepost marker. Just enjoy the swamp, and you can see now more of the lake to my left, to our east. All right, so I can turn here. You're probably getting glare because of the sun. It's actually good here. It's starting to cloud over a little bit. Probably gonna get some rain later this afternoon or tonight. So here you can see this massive sort of swampy area, and here you can see the lake. And Noah's waiting for us here at milepost 16. Been able to basically see all the milepost markers on here, which is great. I think there's a couple that weren't there, but we know where they are. So again, milepost 16, that was the mileage on the Kinghorn. And so for the original lines, we need to add the 100.8 miles. So this becomes milepost 116.8. Now we got a 2-for-1 here because what we have is we actually have a culvert here that kind of drains this causeway. I can't get too close. Take the helmet off here. So it is a segmented concrete culvert. Luna's gonna go in and get some water. So you can see the concrete there. Luna, come on here. I don't like when she gets close to openings like that. And so over here, I don't know, because we're kind of curving here, and we're gonna go south for a little bit. It's kind of funny. We're going south. So here you can see the opening. I see what they've done here. So this is one of the ones where what they've done. I don't know if I can get down there without killing myself. Whoa. Almost went in the lake. Scraped my butt too. So here you can see what they've done is they've added a more metal culvert inside. You can see they've put these big sort of reinforcement pieces of metal, pieces of bar, and then they filled up all this thing here with cement. Yeah, you know what they've done is, we've seen this before in places up by about further to the west by McCaskill. They've put sandbags full of cement. So here you can actually see the pattern of the sandbag and they stuffed it in there, and then when they dry, you can actually see part of the burlap of the sandbag right there. They dry, then they basically stay in place. All right, so let's make our way back up to the grade. Okay, so we're gonna hop back up on the bike and we're gonna continue plugging our way, first of all, I guess south, and then turning to the west.